The best way to deal with a tailgater is to A. Speed up. B. Slow down and allow them to pass. C. Slam on your brakes. D. Honk your horn. The best way to deal with a tailgater is to B. Slow down and allow them to pass. Most rear-end collisions are the result of a vehicle following too closely. If you have a tailgater behind you, you should not speed up. This will only cause you to have a vehicle following you too closely at a higher speed, which can make the situation more dangerous. The best thing to do is to slow down and allow them to pass. To avoid tailgating, one should follow the A. 1-second rule. B. 2-second rule. C. 3-second rule. D. 4-second rule. To avoid tailgating, one should follow the C. 3-second rule. Tailgating is when you are too close to the vehicle in front of you. In these situations, the chances of a rear-end collision are much higher. That's why it's important to follow the 3-second rule when driving in normal, safe conditions. The 3-second rules describes a gap of 3 seconds between the front of your car and the back of the car you are following. What is a turnout area? A. An area on narrow roads to allow other vehicles to pass. B. An area on narrow roads to make a U-turn. C. A lane for turning. D. A rest area. What is a turnout area? A. An area on narrow roads to allow other vehicles to pass. A turnout area is commonly found on narrow mountain roads to allow other vehicles to pass you. These are typically used on roads with a single lane of traffic moving in opposite directions. Turnouts are a section on the side of the road when you can pull over to when other vehicles want to pass. In most situations, you are required to enter the turnout and allow the vehicles behind you to pass when there is a line of at least 5 cars built up behind you. The head restraint should be adjusted. A. At the highest level. B. How it is most comfortable. C. To be aligned with the bottom of your neck. D. To be in contact with the back of your head. The head restraint should be adjusted. D. To be in contact with the back of your head. The headrest or head restraint attached to your seat is an important part of your protection and restraint system in the event of a collision. The headrest should be adjusted so that it is aligned and in contact with the back of your head. The purpose of the head restraint is to help protect you from whiplash in a collision. A vehicle should never be parked closer to a fire hydrant than A. 15 feet. B. 5 feet. C. 30 feet. D. 100 feet. A vehicle should never be parked closer to a fire hydrant than A. 15 feet. You should never park within 15 feet of a fire hydrant. Sometimes, the curb near the fire hydrant will be painted red. Other times, it might not be. It is illegal to block a fire hydrant because it makes it difficult for firefighters and fire trucks to get to it if they are putting out a fire. A vehicle suddenly cuts in front of you creating a hazard. What should you do first? A. Honk your horn. B. Change lanes. C. Slam on the brake. D. Take your foot off the gas pedal. A vehicle suddenly cuts in front of you creating a hazard. What should you do first? D. Take your foot off the gas pedal. If a vehicle suddenly cuts too closely in front of you while driving, the first thing you should do is to take your foot off the gas pedal. This will allow you to create some space between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you without having to slam on the brakes or quickly change lanes. The most important thing in backing a motor vehicle is A. To back up at 10 miles per hour. B. To keep your hands positioned at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock on your steering wheel. C. To only use your rearview mirror to look behind you. D. To use your mirrors and turn your head when backing up so you can yield to other vehicles, bicycles, and pedestrians. The most important thing in backing a motor vehicle is D. to use your mirrors and turn your head when backing up so you can yield to other vehicles, bicycles, and pedestrians. Driving in reverse can be a dangerous maneuver, and it's important that you do it safely and correctly. Before you get into your car when you're about to back up, it's a good idea to check around your vehicle for any hazards and to gauge how much space you have. Once you're inside your vehicle, use your mirrors to do an initial check behind and around you, and then turn your head to look out of your rearview mirror as you back up. It is unsafe to only rely on your mirrors when backing up. When driving in rain, the road becomes the most slippery. A day after it has rained. B, right before it starts to rain. C, during the first hour of rain. D, during the first 10 to 15 minutes of rain. When driving in rain, the road becomes the most slippery. D, during the first 10 to 15 minutes of rain. Rainy and wet conditions add more hazards to every type of situation on the road. The road will be more slick and visibility will be reduced. The start of a rainstorm tends to be when the road's surface is the most slippery. During the first 10 to 15 minutes of rain, oil that has been on the surface of the road and absorbed by the asphalt will mix with the rain. This makes for a more slippery surface than after the rain washes most of the oil away. A traffic signal with a flashing yellow arrow means that you should A, slow down and proceed through the intersection. B, come to a complete stop because the light will change to a red arrow. C, make a protected left turn. D, yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians before making a left turn. A traffic signal with a flashing yellow arrow means that you should D, yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians before making a left turn. A flashing yellow arrow is another way that some traffic lights indicate that unprotected left turns can be completed. When you approach an intersection with a flashing yellow arrow and wish to make a left turn, you'll need to slow down and be prepared to stop and yield to oncoming traffic and pedestrians crossing the street. As you enter the deceleration lane or the exit ramp, slow down and A, stop immediately. B, continue slowing to the posted advisory speed limit before you reach the traffic signal or get back onto the surface streets. C, turn on your emergency lights. D, then continue driving at the speed limit posted on the freeway. As you enter the deceleration lane or the exit ramp, slow down and B, continue slowing to the posted advisory speed limit before you reach the traffic signal or get back onto the surface streets. Sometimes, you'll also need to watch out for traffic merging onto the freeway as you try to get into the deceleration lane. Avoid crossing over solid white lines, and avoid changing multiple lanes at once. Great job! Here are some of your next steps to getting your learner's permit or driver's license. Read and study the official driver handbook from your state DMV. Take more free practice tests at puedomanejar.com. Gather all your necessary forms and documents before you visit the DMV office. Before you know it, you'll be driving in your very own car all by yourself. puedomanejar.com. Free DMV practice tests and much more to help you pass your real exams. Visit us today.